Hey, it's Josh, and I just dropped my daughter off at a friend's, and there's a beautiful trail near here, so I'm just out for a walk. Check this out. I love this park. I've usually come down this way through these trails in the spring. I haven't been by here in the winter for a long time, and it's pretty amazing. Anyway, I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind around the videos I've been making, and it goes without saying, but obviously anything I'm talking about is just my experience, so this is my truth. And I'm not really saying what is right or wrong, any should do's or shouldn'ts, and everyone has their own experience, and I'm sure as I evolve spiritually, my experiences will change. I don't think I could even rightly say there is such thing as a true right or wrong. I mean, for example, I always talk about my experience being that if we're able to quiet our thoughts, get out of our head, become still, this is when we see the bigger truths. And this is the case in our society. We tend to really overthink. We spend too much time up here. However, that doesn't mean that thinking's bad, that there's not a point to being intellectual and to intellectualizing your experiences. I mean, after some of the spiritual experiences I've had, it wasn't until I read about it or I talked to other people about it and intellectually sort of assessed my experience, provided a framework for it with some of the materials I had taken in, some of the videos I'd watched, some of what I read. It wasn't until then that I was able to fully integrate it into my life. I was sort of able to put words, so to speak, around what was happening. And, you know, I had no idea what chakras were, or I had no idea about, you know, what is the idea of your higher self and unity, consciousness. Oh, that's a nice word, like talking about this in books. But then when you experience it and then later read about it, intellectualize it, you can be like, oh, this is what's happening. This makes sense. Versus just reading about it without having experienced it and just trying to like conceptually get an idea of what it is without really having been in it. It's the same thing with trying to just spend time being versus always doing. In our society, we tend to really be action-oriented. And when you can step away from that and let yourself just be, I find this is where the bigger realizations come. However, does that mean taking action is wrong? Hell no. It's like meditation and breathwork and yoga and qigong and all of these different doing activities are necessary to help, for many of us at least, to help us learn how to let go, to help us practice surrendering, to help us get out of our head. So there's definitely a place for both. There's two sides to it. There's always the yin and the yang. There's the dark and the light. And together they make a whole. They become whole. So there's really not right way, wrong way, so to speak. Having said that, there was something I wanted to touch on that I've seen a lot of recently, especially. And that is people really directing a lot of their energy towards things that make them angry or fearful or worried, anxious, hateful. And I would, without saying this is wrong, I would put it out there that this is not going to serve you in the long run. And I mean, this should be, maybe it sounds kind of obvious, that if you're feeling hate and anger and fear and worry and you're against something, that might be a big signal that you're on a path that's not going to lead you where you want to go. But this is our emotional guidance system. And you feel these, what we label as negative emotions, it's telling you something. So when you're starting to get really obsessed with conspiracy theories and lizard people are in our government or aliens and trying to take over our minds and whatever. And I'm not saying that this is not the case. Very well may be. And being aware of that may serve you. But if this is your entire focus and you're going to obsess over the fact that these things are happening that you're angry or fearful about, and this is your directing all of your attention on it, this can really distract you from a bigger awareness. This can distract you from a bigger truth, from self-realization. The same thing with focusing on us versus them in politics and religion. It's like that religion's the bad guy, and we're the good guys, and if you don't look at the way we do, then you're wrong or evil or whatever. Rather than focusing on looking within, on pursuing love and compassion, peace, togetherness, oneness, looking for the best in others, you're always trying to find out what's the difference, what separates me from them, what can I point a finger at to them to judge them or to say that's bad and this is good. These sort of things bring up divisiveness, hatred, anger, fear. Same in politics. It's happening all the time. So again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. In fact, you may be absolutely right that you have a very valid point to be angry about. You have a very good reason to hate something. However, putting your energy into that of needing to be right is just going to brew that dark hate, anger, fear, and worry. It's like worrying, people are just anxiety and worry about work situations and what could go wrong, and watching the news to find out how stressed and worried you have to be. News is happening, well, unless it's fake news, but it's happening, it's real. But does that mean you have to like obsess over that? Does that mean you have to completely obsess over everything that's happening in your world that's negative? Anyway, I just thought I'd put it out there just as listen to your emotional guidance system. If you're feeling these dark emotions, these negative emotions that are fear-based, fear, anger, worry, hate, they're telling you that perhaps it's time to shift your focus a little bit. And I think if you just look at that in general in your life, what am I invested in? Is it making me feel really good? Like, I'm talking about not just good as I'm on a pedestal above someone else, but do you feel really good? Or not like I feel good being angry at someone. Does it bring feelings of love into your heart? Does it make you feel more connected with others? Do you feel safer in the world with those views? And if not, maybe step back and, as if you're an observer watching yourself, how you're living, and just see if there might be something healthier, happier, and it brings you more to that realization of oneness with not just everyone, other people, but all of life. I mean, check this out. Look at this. We're a part of all of this beautiful nature around us. This is amazing. I mean, we're way more fortunate than many of us acknowledge. We got to show some gratitude for this life. It's pretty freaking awesome. Anyway, I love you guys. Just wanted to share that, and hopefully it touches home for some of you. And until next time, stay awake.